Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Fink, and I'm the author of the Republic Baseball League, and this is my audiobook series. This is Volume 1, and now we're going to read Chapter 7, The Economics of Liberty. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, and please subscribe. Thanks so much. Professor Dempsey arrived early on campus again. He was wearing his white Hank Greenberg Detroit Tigers baseball jersey, another one of his favorite outfits. He set up the projector in the lecture hall, grabbed a piece of chalk off his desk, and wrote the word Liberty in large capital letters on the chalkboard. He said, "I suspect that many of you might think that the foundation of a successful economic model begins with natural resources such as timber, coal, and oil. However, I suggest to you that the foundation actually begins with liberty. I'm sure you all read the material assigned in preparation for this class, and I hope that you'll appreciate the significance of economic liberty by the time you leave the lecture hall today." Dempsey walked over to the projector and clicked on the first slide. It was a picture of a portrait of a man with long gray hair that he was certain his students did not recognize. It was John Locke, an English physician and philosopher who lived in the 17th century. He was considered one of the most influential and enlightened thinkers of his time. Dempsey explained that Locke believed that all individuals were equal in the sense that they were born with certain inalienable natural rights, meaning rights that were God-given and could not be taken or even given away. According to Locke, these fundamental rights were life, liberty, and property. Locke believed that individuals should be free to make choices about how to conduct their own lives as long as they did not interfere with the liberty of others. By property, Locke meant more than land and goods that could be purchased, sold, or given away. He also believed that property referred to ownership of oneself, which included the right to personal well-being, the right to pursue work, and the right to be paid fair wages for that work. Dempsey clicked to the next slide, which showed side-by-side portraits of Patrick Henry, a familiar face in American history, and a founding father of the United States, and of Lemuel Hayes, a face less familiar to his students. Both were patriots who fought during the American Revolution to secure independence from British rule. Henry, an attorney and politician, is best known for his famous declaration at the Second Virginia Convention in 1775, "Give me liberty or give me death," a statement he often repeated in his political speeches and writings after independence was achieved. The lesser-known patriot Hayes was a clergyman who became the first black man in the United States to be ordained as a minister. Dempsey then read aloud the following, quoting Hayes: "Liberty and freedom in a innate principle, which is unmovable, placed in the human species, and to see a man aspire after it is not enigmatical, seeing his acts no way incompatible with his own nature. Liberty is a jewel which was handed down to man from the cabinet of heaven." The last slide, showed by Dempsey, was a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, another founding father and the third president of the United States, elected in 1801. Everyone in class recognized him immediately. 25 years before Jefferson began his service as president, he was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. As he did with Hayes, Dempsey quoted aloud Jefferson's language from the second paragraph of that famous document. "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Dempsey explained that most scholars and historians who study the Declaration of Independence believe that Jefferson derived his most well-known ideas from the writings of John Locke. Dempsey also said that Locke wrote about liberty, freedom, and equality in the Second Treatise of Government in 1689, at the time of England's glorious revolution to overthrow the rule of King James II. That was almost a century before Jefferson penned the Declaration of Independence. Dempsey shut off the slide projector and asked the class for their thoughts on the presentation. Several students offered their opinions. After the open discussion, and to conclude the class, Dempsey gave his students their second written assignment of the semester. He granted the class 1 week to write an essay on the economics of liberty, John Locke, and Major League Baseball. Strolling out of the lecture hall, Audrey turned to Rachel and Corey and said, "Hey guys, when you signed up for this political economy course, did you know how much of the material would be about baseball?" Corey replied, "No, but I love that it is. Professor Dempsey makes learning about politics and economics fun." Rachel agreed, smiled and said, "Best class ever." End of Chapter 7. Chapter 8, The Invisible Hand, coming up next. Thank you for your watching. Thank you for the support. I hope you guys take care. And I say to you always, God bless.
This month, we have some great sports card stories from across the U.S. and talk to an author from nearby Leawood, Kansas, who has written a book about returning to collecting after 3 decades away.
My day job is I'm a financial advisor, so I've been investing for over 20 years. In a way to express my love for the hobby, I decided, what if I write an investment book, Sports Card Collectors Club, and treat the stock market the same way I would treat the card market. And so I thought, well, how would a day trader invest in cards? How would a venture capitalist buy and sell cards? How would a hedge fund do it? As I would go through my trials and tribulations, I realized that for as much fun as I was having investing, there was something missing. And one day I was watching the Royals game on television, and it was a rain delay. And the Car Life television show came on. I was watching that episode, I was watching Matt Strom open cards and rip packs, and I started getting the warm, fuzzy feelings. I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to get back to really collecting and ripping cards and building sets. And that's where the story of my book has a change. I go from investing back to collecting.
I'll also open a variety of boxes from different sports. So he hit the home run off me in like the 7th inning. And then in the 8th inning, JT hit a double, so he's standing on second. And Mason Wynn asked him, he's like, "Hey JT," he's like, "I heard Strom collects cards of guys that take him deep." He's like, "Does that mean he's gonna send me over a couple cards to sign tomorrow?" And after the game, we had won. I mean, winning is the only thing that's important to me. So it's like, I was good after the game, whatever, and JT comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Stromy," he was really genuine. Like he wasn't taking shots. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, when I got to second, Mason asked if you're gonna send a card over for him."
I'm just looking around my basement here, just walls covered with concert posters and toys, and just like, I have no intention of selling these things. I collect because I want to show off the things I love and do it in fun ways. And it just never crossed my mind that, hey, I'm going to go buy this thing just so I can resell it. Like that to me isn't a pure collector mentality. And obviously things change and times change. And, in order for things to survive right now, you have to have that sort of chase for something valuable.
Yeah, it needs to be a circus. You know what? The truth is, I actually watched the live stream on eBay Live with Ken Golden and Logan Paul. They ripped a box of 86 Flair and a box of Series 1 Pokemon. And you know what?
Yeah,
it was very entertaining. They're both polarizing characters. I thought it was entertaining. But you know what? After every pull, they immediately are showing the value. And and it begs the question, are we creating, not we, is the industry creating a gambling culture which has a real downside?
It already has.
Right.
Not created. It's here.
Yeah, and
that's
a concern. I guess for me, I hope to be an influence where we focus more on collecting, because you know what, when markets crash, collectors don't get hurt at all. Because the Sandy Koufax you bought that because it makes you feel good. It brings back good memories.
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight.
You have created community, so let's talk about that. I went to Rip Night at your shop. Let's rip another pack. And I went to your Rip Night 2 years ago, And it was one of the best. I wrote about it in volume 1. It was one of the best times I've ever had. You guys had this giant scoreboard where you had the chase cards, and everyone can buy whatever product you wanted, like buy 3 get 1 free, whatever product, whatever it was. You then, if you pull a Bronny James, you then get another blaster. Or I pulled a Reed Shepherd auto, and then I got a free T-shirt. And I sat around the table with strangers and had the best time ever. So let's talk about how important community is, and what you guys do is provide an anchor for community in our town. How important that is.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, one of our taglines, we say we'll make an offer on anything, but like you said, I mean, we got to pay what it's worth, and so if it's junk wax, it's going to be junk wax prices, which unfortunately, a lot of people end up thinking that their 87 Tops Barry Bonds is going to be a couple $100 or
it's
something.
worth nothing, people.
Brand and notoriety. And so when you're pitching these stories to these athletes, like I've reached out to a couple of different athletes about writing a potential article about their collections and having them kind of share their story. And it's like, yes, like I write for Collectibles on SI, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. It does carry weight. Like it does, people recognize that brand. It is important. And so I'm super grateful that I've been given the opportunity to write for that staff.
The top segment that was done by you on you was so well produced, right? Did all that come from the conversation you had with Michael Rubin? Is that how that put you on the map to such an extent that all those opportunities happened? How did that happen? Did you get a call one day?
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight with a pack in hand and a story that bites.
I didn't even collect when I was 3 years old. Like when this card came out, but you just pulled a good one. Roman Anthony, from Dempsey, I love Wichita State.
Yeah.
I would have been thrilled if he went to Tulane, but his parents have roots in Nebraska. So for him, it was coming home. And so Nebraska got a good one. And so I'm not surprised that program's on the rise because they got a great stadium. They have great resources. They got a great fan base of people like you. And their recruiting is fantastic. They're finding the talented kids. So
yeah, in fact,
the Big Ten.
So yeah, Will Bolt, the head coach, he actually played at Nebraska when I was traveling with the Nebraska team in the late 90s. He was down at Texas A&M when I worked at Texas A&M. Rob Childress is the pitching coach, and I was on the hiring committee that hired him away from Nebraska to come down at Texas A&M, and they're thrilled that he's back here in Nebraska. He's a genius. The number of players in pro ball right now that went through Rob Childress, so he'll be under good guidance when he gets up here to Nebraska. They're good people.
One kid found a mantle in the rain. One old friend came back with the same old chain.
Talk to me about the reaction of the players, the other players, when they see this bat putter. Are they flipping out? They freak out when they see it?
And they see it and they're like they just stop. Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because I had that experience literally yesterday. So when I first got the bat putter, I think I bought it 6 months ago, and it's customized for the Republic Baseball League, which is so cool. And now that I realize, now that I love it so much, and I got to use it yesterday, I'm like, I got to start buying them for different people. Like anyone's a guest on my show, they're gonna get a bat putter, okay? Yeah. But the point is, I had never used it because I thought it was too sacred to me. I keep it in my office like a sacred shrine. It means so much to me. But then I was like, after watching all these videos and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? There's this indoor amazing place in Kansas City called Tap-Ins. Okay, they have an outdoor putt, but also indoor. And depending on the weather, the whole thing, it's an amazing atrium, and it's become a successful business. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's a perfect. It was a hot day. I'm like, it's a perfect thing to do. So my buddy Paul Greenwood, who I featured in my first book, we went and played around. And when I showed up with this bat putter, people were freaking out. They were literally losing their minds, and that's when I realized. So then, and then by the way, it was a Sunday, middle of the day, hot as heck. I want to see how it gets made, but you probably do actually.
I want to see if there's quality control testers there.
But attention! If anyone at the Tops is watching, Grip and Rip we want to get invited to a tour at a factory. The two of us.
I told them I would work for free.
Right.
I would work absolutely free. I want to see how their stuff's made.
Yeah, I'm curious. But like collation is like I'm sure there's a bunch of engineers that sit around and design.
Got some breaking news for you.
Yeah.
Slab just texted me.
No way. What do you say?
The numbers looks like this is the first year to hear it. Who is that? Right. Let me see here.
Breaking news. Grip and rip. Breaking news.
Oh, U.S. agent. Okay, so I just got told that the finest mega boxes are going to be really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting.
1.6 numbered cards a box. So you're guaranteed one numbered card with a 60% chance to pull a second numbered card.
Wow,
And
interesting.
Autos are 1 in 3.
Whoa. So do you think that Topps decided to go big because this is their first year with Topps Finest in retail?
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Right? Because
I do think so.
You usually get so upset with the delayed numbers, they're delaying them. Or maybe, by the way, I don't know if it's a conspiracy that the odds are coming out later. I just feel that maybe they're just not as efficient as they used to be.
You might have watched this game back
I'm sure I did.
Currently,
it's Derek Coleman. Yeah, he was on my fans team for sure.
Pretty crazy to think, in the future you would be able to collect that moment that you watched.
Right. And by the way, check that out. It's worth $198 versus the ones that are worth 35 cents because it makes sense. Because the same way that you value your 1964 Willie Mays card, you're going to value your Drazen Petrovic, and you're not going to want to give it up unless it's for a very, very good price because you love that memory. And what's wild is the same way that you get the warm fuzzy feeling with dopamine hit, whatever, when you look at a card on your shelf, it's the same thing. But when you're online at the bank, you don't have your cards with you, Paulie, but you do have your phone, and you can pull up your Drazen Petrovic and pay respect to him and watch a couple of his awesome plays that give you the warm fuzzies because you can. It's wild. And so